One target down, two more to go. The next one is, oh, this is going to be fun. I mean, who doesn't smile when looking at a rainbow in the sky after a tiring day of work? Well, let me tell you what doesn't bring a smile to my face. This transfigured rainbow that looks like a child painted over the Cuban flag in art class. Give her a 0 and make her sing the national anthem 10 times facing the US flag. For the love of God, she can still be saved, because that's the only flag that she'll ever need to remember. Speaking about Americans, of course, this should have been the only way to go. But then the good people in America decided to sleep, while the left, slowly burning their free speech, used the FBI to tail Catholics as extremists, blackmailed social media platforms to hide the truth from the Americans, and then one day they woke up to see this crap everywhere. Markets filled with LGBT clothes for children. Let me tell you something, trying to mess with the identity of children and inspiring them to not follow the natural orientation they were born with should be a crime. And you know there is a reason why we don't put intimacy and children in the same room, right? If you don't, let me explain something. Children are highly impressionable, and while they are building their own personalities and adjusting to their reality, any kind of intimate excitement can cause severe trauma. This is why people are done with LGBT movement and their drag shows for kids. Oh, and when I say natural orientation, I don't mean that parents should clap their hands when their 6-year-old daughter says she's a boy. That's not natural. Natural means according to biology, according to the body they were born with. If your daughter came to you and said that she believes she's a dog, would you buy her a leash and dog food for the rest of her life? Don't answer, Tommy, you're a lost cause. Let's face reality. Nature established that a male human would copulate with a female human in order to produce life. That is our nature. Whatever other use people give to genitals, it's not natural. You know, it's really funny when people argue that homosexuality is natural because penguins and lions also do that. Yeah, lions clap their mothers and sisters, and penguins bang dead bodies too. Wait, are you trying to tell me something? Anyways, what is your argument? That because animals do stupid shit, is it okay for us to do the same stupid shit? Are you listening to yourself? So, because spiders eat their babies, women should be okay eating their babies too? Do you really believe this is an argument? The only thing natural here is the common stupidity among animals and humans for going for the wrong hole. Nothing more. Ah, I got it. I see what you're doing. You are abusing the meaning of the word natural to fit your argument. When we say that heterosexuality is natural, we mean that by the laws of nature, a male and a female need to be intimate in order to produce life. But when you say natural, you mean something that happens naturally. These meanings are not the same. It is expected that animals will commit mistakes. It's expected that humans will commit mistakes, but it doesn't mean that these mistakes define the purpose of their genitals. The reality is, it's a kink. I know, I'm not the first to say that. Melanie Mac has been saying this for a long time now. Oh God, now that is a Mac I would like to put my mouth on. Damn! Why are you jumpy? I was talking about that Mac over there. You good, bro? Anyway, it is a kink. Why? Because if you use your genitals out of their purpose, all that is left is pleasure, nothing more. You are just looking for your fix in your vice. That's the definition of kink, to seek pleasure doing something different. There is nothing sacred or virtuous in a kink. There is only pleasure. There is no higher purpose when you use your genitals if pregnancy is not in the menu. All that is left is animalistic pleasure. Oh, by the way, BJ and using the backdoor are also kinks, just to clarify, you bunch of degenerates. This is not only the Catholic view, but also the Spiritist view regarding homosexuality. Oh shit, no religion. Okay. Well, people are not perfect, of course, but that doesn't make their kinks represent the biological expected use of genitals. Not at all. There is no virtue in kinks. There is no glory in kinks. There is nothing to be proud of. Boom, mic drop again, time to go home. What? Not yet? Come on, creator. What else do I need to say? Okay, let's dance with the coffin over our shoulders, I guess. We all know by now that around 1% of the population suffers from gender identity disorder. Yes, I called it a disorder, just like the American Psychiatric Association called it until 2013. But then, mysteriously, the APA decided to change how they call it to dysphoria. I wonder why. I wonder what was happening in 2013 that could have pushed this sudden change in how a sickness was understood. I feel my gut tingling right now. APA might be involved in some deep shit. Wait, Allan, you can't challenge the APA. I can't? Hold my beer. Let me see. Yes, I found it. From 2009, America started to see a great movement supporting the LGBT community. It was also supported by governmental policies and investments. Wait a second. Investments? Who was president at the time? Oh, okay. I remember that. And during his term, Obama pushed the LGBT agenda so hard that people started demanding changes everywhere, even from the APA. Back then, they used to call it gender identity disorder because they saw it as a mental illness. But of course, the LGBT movement couldn't handle being called mentally sick. So they started pressuring the APA to change the definition, and with the government and society pressing for it, the APA just gave in and changed it to gender dysphoria. Now it's just called a discomfort instead of a disorder. And I can already hear the screams and rage as they say, "How dare you challenge our identity? Why are you criticizing me for that? You are the ones that started challenging our identity. I'm just doing the same." So let me prove my point using the same standards used by the APA regarding any mental disturbance. The APA's main goal is to reduce psychological distress and help people live happier, healthier lives. But when it comes to gender dysphoria, treating it like it's just discomfort and affirming someone as the opposite gender doesn't solve the problem. Sure, it might help them feel good for a while, but every time they are out in the world, people will still see them as their biological reality. You can't force everyone to accept that a man is a woman or that a woman is a man. So the patient will keep facing people who deny his self-image all the time. This constant struggle creates even more stress during their lives and makes it impossible to live a life without suffering. If the goal is really to help them, and if the APA cannot force the world to see the patient as a member of the opposite sex, then this is not a valid solution to end their suffering. This is not science. This is a denial of reality. But if changing the world is not possible, if changing reality is not possible, then changing the patient is the only option that remains. So this is why it's a disorder and not a dysphoria. It's a disorder because the only way to end the suffering is by making the patient accept that his gender is the same as his biological sex, because it's his reality. If someone doesn't want to have sex, that's not a problem. The problem is trying to convince yourself and everyone else that you are what you are not. You can train people to behave in a certain way. People can choose to adapt to a certain scenario. We are human beings. We have total control over what we do with the resources available to us, including our bodies. And as if opposing science were not enough, for some reason that only Jordan Peterson can explain, normal people have let this disturbed minority gain space, pretending they are the majority and push against straight people. I mean, really? You're picking a fight with 99% of the population and you expect it to win? This has got to be the worst stupid movement I have ever seen. How was that even possible? You need an absurd amount of money to push this into Hollywood, the gaming industry, the legacy media, and paid researchers that oppose reality. So who is paying for this crap?
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. 54% of the incoming class are women. We added 4 more points in terms of diverse employment this year. And what we are doing internally is, if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted, okay?
We're doing the same thing.
And so it's just, you have to force behaviors. And if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. And
So these guys are the ones behind ESG, DEI, and the gender lunacy. Okay, glad they came forward, so we know who the enemy is, and we can strike back. They really try to push society to a new normal. Good to see they are failing terribly and losing billions over it. The LGBT movement is so evil that the number of gay people who don't want to be associated with the LGBT cult has skyrocketed in recent years. You are a disgrace to the very people you claimed you would fight for. And I have another shocking revelation to all non-heterosexual people right now. Listen carefully. Do you want to abandon your biological mission of having children in a traditional family? Let me tell you a secret. We don't care. Do you want to live your life chasing pleasure and not having your children take care of you when you get old? We don't care. Do you want to shove a pineapple through your back door? Let me tell you a secret. We don't care. Whatever you decide to do with your intimacy, it's your problem. We don't care and don't even want to hear about it. Stop acting as if you are important or something. You're not. No one is. Go and ruin your life as much as you want, but don't think for a second that your behavior deserves a flag, a month, or even an hour of the day, because it doesn't. Let me ask you something. You ran away from the challenge of having a traditional family and helping to create the next generation, thinking only about your pleasure. And you think you should be proud? What are you proud of? Do you think mothers sacrifice themselves for their children because it gives them pleasure? Do you think fathers work their asses off in terrible jobs away from their kids because it brings them pleasure? What the heck is wrong with you? Life isn't about pleasure. It's about duty and sacrifice. You were born with a mission determined by your biology. We are all like that. Running away from that mission because you don't feel like it? It's not an excuse. It's running away. And there is nothing to be proud of when you run away from your duties. You are not right. You are not an example to anyone, especially for children. Keep your preference to yourself in your private life and we are cool. It's your life. Do what you want in your privacy. We don't care. But if you try to drag innocent minds into suffering the same sexual conflict you feel in your body just because you don't want to feel miserable alone, then you should not be surprised if you are ready to take you out to protect the children. I'm actually surprised that after 2,000 years of evolution, we have reached a point where I still need to scream, leave the children alone. And Spiritism talks about constant progress. That's going to be hard to explain. Oh, sorry, no Spiritism today. Let's go back to the 2 rules to check if the LGBT movement is evil. First, don't do to others what you don't want others to do to you. In other words, don't mess with the very impressionable minds of other people's children, just as you wouldn't want others to mess with yours if you had them. Don't step over the authority of parents, just as you wouldn't want your authority stepped over by others. Sounds simple, right? Now, the next one. Protect young people's minds from the complexities of intimacy until they are mature enough to face this part of their personality and navigate it in a healthy manner on their own, just as you would want to be protected if you were in their position. So, is the LGBT movement evil? You damn sure it is. And now we can bury this coffin on the ground and cover it so it never rises again. 2025 began with hundreds of good news. Dad is home now. There are only 2 sexes, not genders. Gender ideology is dead in the water. Don't feed that monster, please. Genders are an idea. Sexes are real. The executive order doesn't say 2 genders. It says 2 sexes. We good? Cool. But now it's over. The LGBT evil is dealt with. Their arguments turn to dust. 2 targets down. 1 more to go. Which brings us to the last victim of this video. And this one? Oh, you better grab your popcorn because this is going to be pure cinema.